Hi, thanks for coming through to this video today. We're going to have lots of fun painting this gorgeous scene of a beach and some palm trees hanging over the side. What you'll need for this, I have a 12 by 12 canvas board. You can have a smaller one, just do a smaller version. I have a homemade stay wet palette, so I've got a flat sponge in there covered in baking paper, and it's in just a single palette that you can buy quite cheaply on Amazon or eBay or anywhere like that. I have 2 jars of water. One is the dirty one and one will be for the clean one. So you wash it off, most of the paint off first, and then do a quick wash in the clean one. So this is how I work my paints. So this is a ice cube tray, so it keeps all the paints dry, and I put just enough in there so that I know they won't dry out. Now I use Scola paints, SCOLA, and I've named them all because you only really need that 8 for any colour that you want to mix, and the others are just a bonus. So we've got lemon yellow, mid yellow, scarlet red, magenta, ultramarine, cyan blue, carbon black and titanium white. Okay. Also, what I'm going to be using are these brushes. Now, I'm going to be doing kits for this, so if you watch this and you haven't got all the stuff at home, don't worry, I'll be sending a kit out. You'll get the set of brushes, you'll get the board, and you will get the paints. So you'll have everything you need apart from the palette and the waters, because you can use anything for a palette really. You can even use paper plate or something like that. So when I'm referring to your brushes, we've got a flat, a 3/4 flat, we've got our, there is only one, we've got our 1 angle brush, we've got 3 different levels of round for different details, we've got that 2, we've got that 6, and we've got that 5, and then we've got the 8 flat. Okay, so there's 2 flats of different sizes. We'll be using the biggest flat first. What you will also need is, you can use your brushes to mix, that's fine, but I prefer to use a separate palette knife, so to mix the colours that I want. So I'm going to do that on my palette, but as I say, you can just use the brushes that you've got. You don't need the palette knife specifically. So we're going to look at the picture. To start with, there are lots of sky blue, there's a little bit of pink down there as well. We've got a nice dark blue in the back, kind of coming into aqua colours. Then we've got our sand colour there, which is almost like a pinky creamy sand. And then of course we've got the various greens and yellow greens of our palms. We're going to simplify the palms. So let's get started. We'll start with the background. So we're going to start with the sky, then the sea and the sand. Okay, and then we're going to blend them all together. So let's get on with that. Now, if what I might do whilst I'm doing this is I'm just going to go quiet and leave it record, and I'll do a voiceover afterwards, or I might continue talking. Let's see how it goes. So I'm going to pick up some ultramarine and pop on my palette. And then I clean my palette off. I have some tissue just next to me, some paper towel. And then I'm going to come on and just put quite a bit of white on my palette, because there will be a lot of white used to make our lovely, nice white colours there. Now we're going to do an abstract of this, so it won't be like every little detail. Because you can see, like at the front of the sea and the sand, there's lots and lots of detail, speckles of white. We'll do a few, but this is just a nice, quick, easy beginner seascape for you. And we're going to mix a nice sky kind of blue, a nice sea blue. So this is the ultramarine and white. Let me push all that back there. Okay, a little bit more blue in there. Otherwise it's going to be very, very pale. I don't want it too pale. Okay, so that's that blue. That's ultramarine and white. Then we're going to go for the cyan and mix a bit of white into that, which gives us like a really beautiful colour for the sea. And then we need to add a bit of white, as you'll see, for the colour as it comes nearer to us. It'll be a much lighter version. Okay, so let's get some white from here and mix that in. Okay, so we've got some subtle variations in the colours that we're using. Now I'm going to, now that I've got the sky colour, I think I am going to add just a little bit of that cyan blue, because I think the mixture of the two will give us more of like a sky blue colour. See, that's better. There we go. See, I haven't painted this before. I haven't done a practice version because I like you to see my thinking. So we're coming up with like more of a sky blue colour now. And I really do like to mix my colours first, especially if I'm doing a big section. I'm probably going to need more than that. I think we're getting much closer to what we want. Just going to take a bit more of that. It just pushes it out of like the purpley blue into more of a sky blue. There, it's coming now. I'm happy with that. Good. Yeah, happy with that. So I'm gonna, I think because we've got such a big board to cover, I think we need to mix quite a lot of each of those. So let's get some more white. I'm literally going to take some white off of here rather than taking it out of this palette. And we're just going to make up lots of this colour because we're going to need it all. Okay, we need that, a lot of that sky blue colour. It's much bluer at the top because as it goes out into the distance, it kind of fades a bit, but the sea is darkest at the back. So we're just going to put down the layer as we have it now in that blue colour to define where we're going to have that line. And there is a very definite straight line on the horizon. So for that we need to mark off using some tape, and then we'll dry, whoops, and then we'll dry the paint, and then we can do the next bit. So it's about, usually we go in thirds, so it's about there. Good. So let's get painting. We're using the biggest brush at the moment, which is the 3/4 flat. I have wet it so that as we go in with the paint, it's a damp brush, but it is only damp, okay? It's not dripping in water, it's just damp. Make sure you have an old rag or something. I have these old tea towels, which when I've washed them, I try and pull as much water off as I can. We don't want to water down the paint too much, and we're really just going to come in and mark where we want our sky to be and fill in that space. Okay, and you see, because I have a nice damp brush, that lovely blue colour is spreading nicely and it's going on really well. We may need to mix some more. I never mix enough. That's it's just one of my things. I always do. Now we're coming in and we are literally, I'm just coming in and pushing the paint into the canvas. I'm not worrying too much about any streaks, any darks, any lights, because we'll be coming back over it anyway. This is just our base layer for the sky. It's looking good. And we just really want to make sure we're pushing it into the canvas to really get in those grooves. So that's the main thing that we're doing. There we go. So I'm teaching this class in person tomorrow morning, and then I'll be making sets up for anyone else that can follow along on YouTube. This is a beginner's version of a seascape. So as I said, it won't be super detailed, it'll be nice and loose for you to get started on. So I need some more ultramarine, I need a little bit of cyan, and I need some more white. Okay, and because I've got that colour underneath, I can try and get back to that same blue. In fact, this is a bit darker, which is better for the top. Can you see at the top it's a bit darker? So I might just go over, before I lighten that, I'm going to use that blue at the top here. And then we can blend it in with a wet paint that's already on there. Okay. Now, if you keep going over it, you'll end up with paint that's sticky, and you'll end up lifting it off the canvas, and that's the trickiest bit to do. You don't want to be doing that. Okay, so we're just flicking this paint in. I'm pressing really lightly, like tickling it. I'm just tickling the surface because I want to get this darker colour on at the top, but I don't want to see my brush strokes. So you can come off at angles just to blend it in. Very often the best thing to blend is to kind of just come in this crisscross pattern. Okay, but you need to be going off the canvas like that, so that you're not left with any marks. As it starts to dry, you can blend a little bit more just before it dries to get rid of those little brush marks. See, like that, I'm just tickling the surface, and that kind of just mixes the colours in together. So we've got that. We'll do the clouds at the end. So now I'm going to add some more white to this mixture, and we'll get back to that very light blue that we had before. As you can see, there we go, a little bit more, and then we should have enough to finish it off nicely. And I actually think there's a bit of pink in there, so what we'll do is get a little bit of magenta. Okay, and a lot of white. I'm going to take the white from the pot. Okay, and what we'll do is mix that in as well when we do the bottom part. We want to get a little bit of that pink in. Okay, right, so we're going to carry on down here with our blue, mix that in. We still need some more white, so I'm just using my brush now. You can actually mix on the board as well. You can mix on your canvas. If you think, oh, it needs some white, just come in with the white. When we're doing the backgrounds like this, you need a lot of paint on your brush, so make sure that you have got that. And just to blend it into the top, we just tickle the surface like that, okay? And it will blend in, and you'll just have that nice gradient of sky as we go. Now, as I say, I like to record my YouTubes fresh, so these aren't practiced, and then you can see me just doing what I do as I go, just thinking as I go, making decisions. That way you learn better. You can see like how I do things, and like if I make a mistake or do something I don't like, how I can come back and change that. So it's good to see from scratch. Okay, so I think we've got a nice light colour at the bottom, and then we need to just blend that into the top like that. It's drying a bit, so we've got to be careful that it's not starting to lift the paint off. Okay, so you're just tickling the surface. We do not want to lift any paint off because we've got a nice sky there now. Okay, and it's not perfect, it's patchy, but that is sky. It's never perfect. We're going to add in some clouds anyway in a minute. So I'm just cleaning off my brush in the dirty water bottle, and then I'm going to rinse it in the clean water bottle. So that's why you have two jars. One to put it in while it's full of paint and it's dirty, and the other one just to keep clean, to really make your brush clean. Okay, so we need to add in some of this pink. So what I want to do is just come in. It's so subtle, I mean you can hardly even see it on the picture, but I know it's there, I can see it. I think that might be we might need a bit more, so I'm just going to make some with my brush. I think we'll need a bit more white than that. Okay, maybe a bit more white. It's just so subtle, but we need a lot more than what I had. And actually, even though it's really subtle on the photo, I think it'd be quite nice to make more of a deal of it. on here. So here we go, coming in with the pink, just subtly at the bottom there, bringing some of it up, like I'm not even pushing hard, just very gently introducing that colour into the bottom, bringing it through, touching very, very lightly. Oh, I've got there's a piece of fur in there. I don't know how I can get that out. Where's my, just get my palette knife. If you ever get any little, it's a shame because it's going to take the paint off, but we need to get that hair out. Sometimes that happens. I have a studio cat who likes to come in and destroy, but it's okay because we can go over that. Let's just get that. And just push it in. It's fine. There we go. Disappeared. Okay, so what we don't want to do is overwork it and start pulling the paint off. So there's a bit of pink there. Now I'm going to use a different brush now to come in and do those sky shapes. So that's the dirty brush water. This is the light brush water. So I'm going to come in with a different brush. We're going to come in with the round now, the larger round, which says number 6 on it. So we're going to come in and do some clouds. So what we really want, the clouds have a little bit of pink in them. So we're just going to come in with some very, very pale pink clouds. Not much paint on the brush. And there's one over here, there's one over here, but I'm not really worrying too much about where they are on there. Now all I'm doing is just dabbing that paint on. Okay, now it's still too wet, so what I'm going to do is leave it like that a minute. I'm just going to dry. I forgot about drying. Oh, my cats are having a field today, getting on my paintings. All right. Another one. Little monkeys. Now, I think we're there. Now, as you can see, once it's dried, you can make any decisions on anything you want to change. So I think I am going to come in on the sky again, just with some of our sky blue here, and just fill in some of the gaps that I can see in the canvas board. Okay, so you don't really have to worry too much about, you know, it's sky, it's not perfect, it doesn't all have to blend in perfectly, unless it was just a completely clear sky, obviously, and then you would, but we're all right, we don't need to do that. Put a bit more here. It's just making sure that the tooth of the canvas, this bit here, there's a big gap there. Okay, great. That was a bit darker, wasn't it? Just get a bit more ultramarine and add that in. Just get a bit more. I don't want to make it too dark, so just a bit more. Just keep adding it till you've got your darker colour back. Yep, and then put some cyan in it as well, because we want it that nice blue. We don't want it to be too purpley. Okay, and then it's gone too dark, so now we have to add more white. And I think we're there. All right, so come in and just blend down that darker blue from the top, making sure that all the teeth of your board, of your canvas, is filled in. Sorry, when I'm concentrating I go really quiet, and I realized I went really quiet then. Okay, so I'm just coming in with some more of this darker for the top. We want to keep that darkness there, and then we'll blend it back down again and make it lighter again. Okay, so we'll get some more white. Don't need it all. Let's whiten that up. Maybe I do need it all. There we go. And we just want to blend that dark into that light. Just really gently, okay? Because we don't want any distinct lines in the sky. But we do want to have that lovely gradient where it was really dark at the top, coming down. I think I've made it too dark again. This is the joy of you seeing me do it from scratch. What I should have done really is probably mix the different blues, but you know, I didn't think at the time, and that's how it works sometimes. Right, so I practically have a dry brush now, and a dry brush will really blend those colours in and smudge out any distinctive lines of where your paint is now wet and can still be moved around. Nice. This bit here has quite a few gaps in it still on the canvas, so we'll come in and go over that. Perfect. Right, so now we need to come in really light down here and blend that up with the pink a bit. Continue to add some of that pink in, but also with some of that blue. Really, really pale down here. Okay. Right. So I'm going to get rid of that brush again, and then I'm going to dry again, and that should be it. And we should then start being able to add the clouds in. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is again come in and mix some of that magenta. Okay, we want to keep it really nice and light. Let's use all that white then. Let's push this up here so I've got more palette space in a minute. Okay, I think we need a bit more white. So I'll take the paint off my palette knife. I've just got some kitchen towel, that's all I'm using, and then I can go straight into the white, knowing full well I'm not going to add colour into my pot because I don't want to be mixing the colours up in here. Right, so I have a really nice pale magenta there for the clouds, but I want to get some white to make sure I've got some white to blend in as well. But they are very, very much, when you look closely, pinky white. So my brush is going to have hardly any on it, hardly any paint on it at all, and we're just going to do wisps. Okay, almost hold your brush at the end, and we're just going to just do these wispy clouds in the background. Okay, we can come in and add some colour afterwards, but can you see I'm just wiggling my brush? I'm not really thinking about where I'm going. We want some bits here. Okay, that's all we're doing, just really wiggling it around. come up here, maybe a bit, it's wisping off around here. You don't need much. So I'm now going to come in with a bit more white on top, so we can make it a bit whiter there in places as well. Okay. And again, I'm not really being specific about it. I'm just giving the sense of, be careful you haven't got too much paint on your brush, because we do really just want them to be quite transparent in the sky. We don't really want to be seeing much of them. Okay, I'm just doing some streaky lines down here as well, just down towards the horizon with some of that nice little magenta pink. At this point, I'm not really thinking. I've gone, you know, I'm into artist head mode. I've gone. Right, so we're going to go up here, and most of it's going to be behind this tree anyway, but we will just come in and try and put this bigger cloud in here. Again, just flipping the brush around, pushing that paint around. I'm going to make it come out here a bit. There we go. See, it's nice to leave like little indents of that white here and there as well. Put a bit too much white on there, so it's fine. We're just going to smidge it round. And it's nice to be able to see the blue through it as well, because that's what makes it look more like a cloud, like it is actually coming from the sky. I'm going to add another bit down here because I can, because I want to. I think when I did the sky, I was looking, oh, that'll be a good place to put a cloud. So very often things happen when you're painting and the paint goes where it wants to go, and it's fine, because that's what, those happy accidents is what makes the painting yours. Okay. And the more messy your clouds are, the more natural they're going to look, because clouds are wispy and messy. Put some more over here. Again, just keep fiddling about until you're happy. You can smudge the colour in, you can add some more colour. Kind of wanted those to kind of meet here as though they're pointing that way, and there is on there, there's like this wispy one up here. It is kind of like just wisping in that direction, so let's maybe do that one as well. It's coming across, isn't it? Like, don't put hardly any paint on your brush, maybe a little bit more water. I'm drying out, but really not very much paint, and I'm adding more white because it is whiter. Oops, I just plonked that right in the big pile of pink. All right, so I'm just going to come across. Too much paint on my brush. This is a really wispy one, so it needs to be like that. We're just long big strokes, wisping it into the sky, away, going in that direction. Okay, nice. Okay, I'm very happy with those clouds. So try not to overdo them either, because they can be overworked and then they don't look real anymore. Okay, so we're going to take away the tape, and now we're going to do the C, which is going to be more of this darker colour. So I'm going to put the round brush away, and I need you to get back out your 3/4 flat brush, or whatever flat brush you have if you're not using my kits. And I'm going to come in with quite a lot of that darker colour there. Okay, and I'm going to, has it dried down there? I'm going to put some tape Sorry, I forgot that bit. Over the top of where we've taped, but only gently, because we don't, when we pull the tape off, we don't want it to lift off. Okay, we don't want it to pull any of our paint off, which does happen sometimes. So quite a bit of water on your brush, because we really want to get this sea colour in there, that beautiful cyan colour. I'm going to get some more, but we need a bit of white in there. There we go, beautiful colour. Now what I'm going to do is really mix that in more than it. There's such like a straight line where that it goes into aqua mode, and I'm not going to do that. I'm going to slowly and gradually kind of push it in. If you watch me, I'm just adding some white as I go down, and that's all I'm going to keep doing. Okay. Right, I'm just going to get a bit more water on my brush and some of this white from up here. Okay, and keep blending it in, and make sure you've got enough water on your brush. You need that water to loosen up the paint and really push it in. Okay, and for this I am, because it is the sea, I am just doing those great sweeping strokes from one side to the other. Okay, and I'm coming straight down. I am going to come right down to the bottom, because we can do white. We can just blend in the white. So let's see, it's from there, isn't it? Okay, so what we want to do now, oh, there's a bit too much white, is I'm just putting white straight on my brush, straight on that canvas, and it's kind of going to come in this direction, isn't it? That's right. Okay, so I'm just blending it up. I want some more white to make it really white down here as we come towards the land. Okay, so keep pumping that white all the way up until you're happy with where it is. Keep pushing it up, and because there's quite a lot of paint on your brush, it's much easier to blend in like that when you're doing your backgrounds. Right, I'm just going to come in now and make a sandy pinky colour to mix into that. Just need to get all the blue out now. So to make a sandy colour, let's try that burnt sienna with a lot of white. I am mixing it with my brush. I think I'm going to put some yellow in. Let's try that. We're getting there. So we need much more white now. So I'm going to get my palette and just scoop out a load of white, because on the sand, on the screen, on the photograph, it's very, very pale. So we need it to be very pale. There we are. That nice pale sandy colour. I'm happy with that. And I'm just going to try and push out the paint out of my brush. There we go. I'm going to wash my brush again. Try and get as much of the paint out as I can. Still using my dirty brush, clean brush water. And I am going to come in from the corner and just blend that up into the sea. Right, and this is where we get the crossovers of colour, which is really beautiful. Okay. Oops, I got some full colour there from somewhere. And keep pushing it in until you're happy. Okay. Oh, another hair there, but I think it's one of mine. It's been one of those days today. It's just catching every hair around. It's all right, we can put it right. Okay, now I am going to come in with a little bit of the pink as well, because there is some pink in there. I'm going to wet my brush a little bit more because I really want to blend that pink into the sand and into the sea. As you can see, I'm not making a definite line where the water meets the sand because I don't want to. We want to keep it nice and just blend it in and subtle like that. Okay, that's what I want to do anyway. And we're going to mix in some of that pink because it's pretty and it's definitely there. You can just about see it in the sand. Okay, now what we're going to do is make more of a definite line in the water where it's coming in and meeting the sand. So we'll come in this time with the angle brush from your kit, and we are going to get some of that very pale, but again not too much on your brush, and we're just going to come on. Oh, it's not dry. We need to dry it first. Let's fix that. Right, so we are going to come in, like I said, with some of that white, and we're just going to come and create some kind of wiggly waves. Okay, and that's what this brush is really good for. We'll need a bit more than that. It's not really showing up. There we go. Just as it's coming in there, just as the waves are coming in, we're not being exact about them, but it's just creating that sense of movement on the shoreline. And you're using your angle brush coming in this direction. It's not exactly as it is on the picture, but it's just how I want to do it. Okay, there we go. Now we've kind of lost some of the sandy colour because we were mixing it in with the green, so I want to come back and amend that a little bit to make it a bit more yellowier. And what we can do is just bring in some of these white lines here and across, and it just gives the impression of the water coming in closer. I'm going to use my smaller flat brush, going to get it nice and wet, and we're going to come in with that darker colour at the back again because I just want to make sure we have filled in the back okay. As you can see, just want to make sure it's blended in smoothly. Okay, coming across. Bit more. Bit more water so that I can bring it down. There we go. Beautiful. Okay, so now I'm going to come back in and we'll use my, my flat brush again, my smaller flat brush, and we are going to come in with the sandy colour, but make sure we're not blending it this time because it's dried underneath. We need to see more of that sandy colour coming through right in that bottom corner. Okay, really kind of, we still want to see where it blends with the sea, but we just needed this bit at the bottom corner just to show a little bit more of the pure sea colour, the pure sand colour, sorry, I feel. And then we want to come in with some pink here as well, bring that pink in, even across that shoreline there's some pink, so we can do that, little touches of it. Right, so we'll wash that brush off again. Right, so now for the branches. Now for this we really do need the angled brush, because we are going to be making lots of lines coming over to that side. We can fiddle around with anything that's here once we've got that tree in, so don't worry too much. I need some more palette paper, so let me just go and get that. So we'll remove that one off, out the way, put the new one on. So this is how I make like my own homemade stay wet palettes, because when you buy them they are quite expensive, and the stay wet replacement sheets are also quite expensive. So if you do this, it is a much cheaper way of making your own stay wet palette. Right, so now I'm going to come in and make some different greens. So we're going to go in, we've got lemon yellow and ultramarine blue, so we can try that mixture. We can try lemon yellow, oops, didn't do my palette knife, with cyan blue. Then we've got mid yellow. We can already see some of the greens coming out with some ultramarine. And then we've got our mid yellow with our cyan blue. Okay, so there are the 4 greens that we're able to mix from what we have there. So I'm just going to push them together and see what comes up in the middle. And then you could add more or less depending on what green you want, if you want a more yellowy green or a bluier green. Okay, so that is lemon yellow and ultramarine. This is lemon yellow and cyan, so very vibrant, because the cyan is a very vibrant colour. We get a more vibrant green. Okay, so that's become more blue. So we want to make sure it's green, because we're not doing bluey colours, we're doing the sea, we're doing the tree. We're not doing the sea anymore. So I'm going to push some of that lemon in the middle. This is mid yellow and ultramarine. Now that's given us more of a good tree green as well, hasn't it? I think that one and that one so far will be really good ones to use. And then mid yellow and cyan, again, probably is going to come out very vibrant. Okay, but what we can do is also, I'm going to pop some white in the corner because we use so much of white anyway. We can take some of that, mix it with the white, and it gives us a tint of the green, because we might decide that's what we want. So what we're doing now is just kind of checking our colours and seeing what we can make. All right, and this is part of learning, is just playing around with what different ways you can make things. As I say, you only need these 8 colours in my tray, right? These first 8, you only need those to make all the colours you need. Look, we've got a much yellowy green there like that, but then if we add some white to it, it becomes a tint and it becomes much more subtle. And we have actually got in that photo quite a lot of yellowy green like that. Okay, so we've got some white here ready for this mixture. Okay, again, it's another vibranty green, but it's a lovely tint. It's almost like a mint green, that one. You can also add black to really darken it as well. So let's get going. I think I'm going to go with, I want to simplify this. So let's go with a nice dark green. So I need some black. Let's get some black on my palette. There we go. And I think we'll mix up a dark green out of this one, because this is already, now when you add black to a colour you just don't need very much, which is why I'm adding it to the end there. And I'm just trying it to see what it comes out like, and I think I like that, so we're going to add more. Now I'm going to use this dark green to act as like that, the black parts of the branches as they're coming out. Now with your angled brush, you want to make sure the paint is on the end, right? You don't need much actually on the brush. So I'm just going to remove what's around there. We just want what's on the brush. Now I'm going to be quite loose, and I'm just going to draw some line shapes coming this way. So we've got one kind of sweeping around there. Get some more, because it does run out on the ends. See, once you've used up the little bit of paint on the end, you'll need to refresh it. And I'm just going to come out and just do some of these sweeping shapes, and we'll get a sort of like an idea of where we want to put these palms. And already you can see that that's going to be palms. You just know, your body, your eyes will just go, oh, there's going to be palm trees there. It just it becomes obvious. Okay, but we're just going to have fun with these palms. We're not going to be too detailed about them. I'm going over that a little bit just to make sure they really are the darkest part of the plant. And we can just keep going like that and just have a few poking over, because there are quite a few there. Get that one over. There we go. Right, so I'm going to get some more. And what I want to do now is to start do the spikes, some of those spikes coming off. So we're going to do like that. Literally just going to come from the main one we've put there and just have some of these spikes coming off. Now I'm doing the darkest because we're going to work from the darkest green up to the lightest green. And what we'll do is we'll go over all of these bits that are hanging off with the other colours as well. Okay, and just on the ends we just want some nice tiny little ones just coming off the end. Oops, that was a bit light. We need to get a bit more of that dark in, because we're going to do the darker colours first and the lighter colours at the end. And so we just need it almost just so that all their strands are just dropping down this way. Remember, this is a beginner, so we're just getting a sense of the palm tree. We're not going to worry about all that detail. But the more advanced you get, the more you can do if you really want to. But I kind of like that abstract look myself, where things just kind of have a sense of what it's supposed to be. It's good fun. Okay, so that's coming down. And just keep doing that until you're happy, really. Just get it looking how you want. It doesn't have to look exactly like that picture. You can do it however you want. But we are doing the darker greens first. That's it. Good. We're getting some more of those darker greens coming in. I'm going a bit more up into the black, and I might even just come in again even darker, because it's those main sort of arms of the palm seem to be where it's darker. I'm going to get some more water. I can feel my brush drying out and the paint's not going down very easily, and that's what happens. You need to keep your brush sort of wet, but you just don't want it too wet. So I'm just kind of using the point of my angled brush now to kind of do some of those really thinner lines. Just come in with your brush and come in, and it doesn't really matter too much. And don't forget as well, if you want to, if it's easier, you can come in and you can actually see if it's making sense or not to your eye as well when you turn it upside down. And basically we're just going to keep doing this until we're happy. I am going to come in with some really dark black. I really want to get some of that dark in, because then when we come in with the lights, we'll really feel the impact of it. So I'm just going over what I've done a little bit with some more of that dark. So we're kind of actually, my first layer was like the mid-tone. What we're doing now is building up value. So we're starting off, value is light to dark. So it's good to have your background colours, your darker colours down first with acrylics anyway, not with watercolour. And then you can build on that after. I'm quite enjoying doing this upside down. It frees you up a bit because you can't really tell properly where it's going, but you can, because your brain is seeing it upside down, you can get a good judgment of whether it looks right. Okay, so there's some more yellowy greens coming up now. So I'm going to come into the green we made, but I'm now going to add some more yellow. I'm just going to take some of the excess paint off. I'm going to turn it back around just to start with, and we're just going to come in with that nice yellowier green and also make some more strands. Do you know what? I think I was enjoying doing it upside down, so I'm going to carry on, because then you get the point at the end and you get a better mark. So I recommend doing that. And yeah, there we go. So we're just building up. I have some coming from the other way, the other side, like that. Now you don't want it in perfect little lines, so don't get into that habit either. It's easy done. I'm just going to add some more yellow now. We're coming a bit closer to doing our top layers, which will be more light. And then what we'll do is add some white to that really light colour. There we go. Okay, so I'm staying upside down because I feel as though I can get the angle better. I love that yellowy green. It's so nice. Really brightens it up. I know you can't see it yet because it's upside down, but you will. You'll see. It really does. I need to get some just yellow over here. That's it. Where the sun is hitting it. We're also going to come in with a white, sort of a white colour on top there. I think it's really important to get those highlights in at the end. Sorry, my voice is going quiet again because I'm concentrating. I just get some tinges of that yellow like on the ends there. It's nice. Okay, let's have a look, see what it looks like. Yeah, happy with that. So I think at the top we need to be a bit more dense with the black green. So I'm just going to make some more of that quickly. So we just need some more yellow, some more ultramarine, there we go, and some more black. There, nice dark, deep dark green. Right, so again, get it off our brush and we just put some on the angle brush so it's nice and thin on the ends. Oops, I said nice and thin on the ends and I put too much on. So we're just going to really just thicken up this with the darker strands, because there's a lot here that's just darker. So we need to get that in. Let's have a look. Yeah, that's better. Much better. And then we want to kind of be coming from this side as well and showing how the palms kind of do actually go that way as well. Okay, and then some more here. And it's good to cross over as well. Remember, don't do the same lines, cross over, mix it up a bit. That way it will look more real. Just want to turn that round and come, that's it, from that direction, and then kind of come round. Okay, I'm going to kind of make it a bit messier in places, because this is nature, and nature is messy. We know nature is messy. We're going to come back over the dark, don't forget, with some more brighter layers, but I really just want to get these in. But up here is super dark, as you can see, and then we've got a bit dark here underneath, and a bit hard here. You know, you could keep going with these branches for a long time until you get them super detailed and exactly how you want them, but for the sake of doing this lovely, nice, quick beginners video, we're not going to do too much of that. Right, I'm going to get my mid yellow and some white. Okay, and we're going to go really bright with this particular part here. Hang on, too much on my brush, so I'm trying to, right, upside down again, it's much easier. Okay, we're going to come up and across there on these ones here. I think here as well. And those lovely little highlights just really make you see that the sun is shining. Like, hello, the sun is shining right here. And there's some more here on the ends, so we need to get some of that in. Let's get a bit more. I think I need some more water, actually. It's sticking as well. Some more of that. Nice. Just get some of that off my brush. And then away we go. So we want some here. And up here as well. This really brightens up the painting, so it's a very important part, because we are showing where the light is. And you might think, oh, but it's so dark underneath, but that's the point. We're showing, yes, it is really dark underneath, but here's the sunshine. The sunshine is shining here. Kind of, some people say, you know, art is like telling a story of what you can see. So we've got a bit here that comes up that I quite like, that is just like a little bit of light on there. It's very thick with dark in there, but and it's nice just to bring that colour in without much on the brush in different places. Now I want to bring in a little bit of like that sandy colour. So I'm going to get some burnt sienna and mix it in with that yellow. Need a bit more. Get some white. Need some more of that brown. Some more white. There we go. We get there eventually. Okay, so I'm going to take all the paint off my brush, because I should have been using my palette knife, naughty. And I am just going to come in and do, because like, you know where that, like, it's kind of dying off a bit. It's like a really pale sandy colour. So let's put some of those in as well. And they're all kind of just jumbled in. So that's what I'm going to do. They're not very specific to one area of the plant. They're just everywhere. So I'm going to do that. And just put some in quite lightly. I just want them to be, they're quite spiky, the dry ones, aren't they? So they need to be really thin and kind of spiky looking. And that also gives, again, different directions, and that gives us more idea of depth as well, and the fact that there's like different variations of the leaves coming out. Some coming out with that way. Turn it back over. Yep, happy with that. So now I'm going to brush that off, and I'm just looking. I still feel like there's something I need to add. Maybe it's just some white, just on the tips here and there. Yeah. And that is the fine. I do like to add white as like a final highlight in places. It does make it much lighter, and it gives the painting some real punch when you put some of these little white. Oh, there's a bit of black on there, careful. To be honest, we could have a little bit of black just inside. Get some water, just a little bit. Black is very, very strong colour, so you don't want too much of that in there. But again, because we've got the white, it will help to make it stand out, because your darkest colours are very dark. There we go. There we go. So I'm just using some of the black. I think that's what it was. I think that's what I wanted to do. Something, I could tell something just wasn't quite done how I wanted it, so it's fine. And again, I'm not copying exactly. I'm just doing my own thing, because that is the joy of painting and being an artist, is that you can do it how you want to do it. And here there's actually some just right underneath, and some here. So yeah, I think that's really helped. It's really, really helped. Okay, I'm happy with how that is, so I'm just going to leave that, and then I can come back to the different areas. Now it's time where you step away and think, is there anything I could change or make better? So for me, I think I want to come in and do a bit more work on the sky, and perhaps a little bit more work down on the sea. So just going to get some white and a tiny bit of magenta. There we go. It's like a tiny bit. We've got such a big palette of greens, there's not much room anyway. So right, I'm going to take some of that paint off, and I'm going to make this cloud even wispier coming out of here. You know, and you can almost just do like these little tickles of cloud markings. Okay. And just carry on with your clouds until you're happy with what you've got. And then it's good to come in with some white and actually leave it white. It would be probably more on the top parts where the sun is hitting those clouds. Again, so loosely, just a little bit of white, and just dot it amongst your clouds. You could even have some of that back here, you know, just some little marks in the sky, because they're clouds that are just further in the background. Okay. this bit up here.